Well, it is one of my favorite seats for years in terms of comfort. And for bonus it has cooling system, which must be very underrated feature for sim racing. As the last few weeks the temps went up, I start to appreciate more and more the fresh air between my body and the cushion of that bucket. But the disclaimer first. O-Rouge provide this cutie for test, evaluation and opinion, and that is what you're gonna get in this video, so let's start with the bucket itself. There are two models, and the difference between the C1 and C2 are the extra head protection, which is also a bit more expensive, but if you are a VR user where the heat with the VR headset is even worse than the triple screen, those ears can become a problem while looking around. I have created habit to push my head forward and then turn around, and have never been a problem for me, but I know for some can be a problem, and the C1 for VR users is highly suggested. The C1 will definitely eliminate that problem and will also save you some cash. However, I personally love seats with head protection, which I used in my real cars and sim for years. I love how they look, and secondly, while spending lots of time in the weekends working on those videos, I can get some quick nap resting comfortably my head on the side. And talking about sleeping in a bucket seat may sound weird, but if this seat is in a proper angle, the comfort is brutal. Probably most of you have seen me in this beautiful Soelpec GT pad seat the last few years, which can be very useful for endurance races in real world, in which the bucket is shared between different drivers who can be different body size, and with the 3 different size cushions the problem is solved quickly. But once I used the Mirko RS1 for years before, everything else feels just a bit off for me. That is one of the reasons I never suggested to anyone the GT pad, and of my close friends using the RS1, 2 and 7, they really are the most comfortable for sim use, and there is a reason which I will explain in a minute. But if you get confused why I talk about those bucket models in video about O-Rouge Cold Fusion, well, it's simple. This beauty here share actually the same RS7 design, but with specifically designed cooling system to dissipate the heat from the hot spots through ventilation on the bottom, lumbar and the back area. So, one important thing you need to understand for those cushions is the 2 bottom front parts are thick, and they are the main reason of the overall comfort, because they push the legs up and change totally the body weight distribution in comparison to the most of the racing buckets. And as I've said before, if the seat leans back just enough, I can sit, which I do for 10-12 hours without getting any sign of vertebrae or muscle fatigue. The only modification I did to my RS1 before was small memory pillow for the low back area to make sure there is zero gap, but because of the ventilation of the O-Rouge, which they use special material to allow the airflow, the guys have created their own solution with pads which fill that gap and allow proper ventilation. So, in terms of comfort, it is for sure 10 of 10 for my standards, and as I've said, it is heavily tested with my RS1 for more than 3 years, and I regret changing it with the GT pad, which for sure is one of the most beautiful but pain in the ass in terms of overall comfort. That being said, the Cold Fusion, because of the thick pads I mentioned before, will change totally your leg and feet position. You will definitely need to make some adjustments to the pedals and your wheel. My suggestion is to bring few centimeters the pedals up and then find the proper angle. Also, put the bucket max bottom on the rear side and second last top on the front, then adjust the pedals, the wheel, and I can easily promise you, you can even take a nap in that position and drive for hours without any fatigue. And on top of that comfort comes the main feature, which is the ventilation to keep you fresh in those long stints. That's achieved with 4 fans directly integrated to the cushions, one on the bottom, one for the low back and 2 on the top. That may sound a bit weird, but they're integrated for maximum performance, and the holes on the seats are just to allow fresh air. You definitely don't have to be worried, as the positioning is very precise, and once the body pushes against the pads, the fans go into the seat holes and their existence is absolutely unnoticeable. I have to admit, the cooling design is really clever and it looks a bit different from videos I saw before, as the fans are still directly attached to the cushion pads to optimize the air stream over the entire surface, but they are not attached directly to the seat, and as I press hard my back while braking hard, the fans just move out, but the shroud around ensures there is no loss of air pressure and the seat remains super comfortable. The soft material inside allows very good evenly spread airflow, and the same applies to the cover. I think Will from Boosted Media prescribed best the feeling.
You're not getting that sensation of air movement. It doesn't become uncomfortable or, I guess, distracting at any point. It just creates this nice cooling effect, as we mentioned before, kind of like getting into a bed with cold sheets or putting on a jumper that's just come fresh out of it.
That's how it feels indeed in the first two fan RPM stages, and in stage 3 and 4 to me feels a bit more like a flow, which I found in winter conditions. If I forget to turn on before I get sweat, a bit unpleasant and too much, but the main goal is to set it on before the start of the race, and on level 2 I haven't got sweat in those intense races in which my body usually burns out. Again, for now it does exactly the job O-Rouge advertised, and it looks like the summer races will be way more comfortable than before. Really clever idea and properly executed in my opinion. I used this seat for a little over 2 months, and it's hard to say how it will go with the time, as the material which allows the airflow will be compressed all the time, and I must revisit this a year from now and report, but for a little over 150 hours use, I don't feel any difference, and stage 2 is mostly the one I used, but definitely curious to see if I need more when the real summer arrives. So, this is very easy video for me, as in terms of comfort the bucket is absolutely top, is tested over the years, and it does exactly the advertising the web in terms of cooling. Also, one complaint previously raised from other reviewers was the not protected side area, which usually were first in bucket seats from going in and out many times, but looks like the company took notice and addressed the issue, adding leather on those places. And the other thing is, 4 fans will always add some noise to the ambient sound of the room. It won't be silent, that's for sure. In stage 1 and 2 are okay, and 3-4 are more like a heavily loaded gaming PC. I personally don't care about noise wearing headphones, and I don't hear it at all, but the cooling must be done and there is no way around. Again, as I said, I have been recommending those models for years and all my friends were super happy, and the cooling is really cool idea. It is such an easy product to recommend, and the only thing left is to see how it will work a year from now after the heavy use that bucket gonna get on my rig. The motion will make the things even harder, so there will be for sure a visit a year from now and let you know how it goes. Here are also the dimensions of the seat, so you can measure yourself and get idea how it will fit with your body size, and for little extra cost you can customize it with your personal logos. It is crazy how far the passion for sim racing brings this hobby lately. We can have even active cooling on the seats, no more sweat on the back, and one more problem solved. I really love this hobby and all the people who make it a better place for us.